All right, well, a few weeks ago, we built this Windlass control box, and filming a walkthrough of it and explaining what it does probably would have been a much better idea on the bench than once it's installed in here. But basically, this box is going to take power in and send power out to our Windlass. It's a little bit more complicated this time around than it was last time, because this time around we're going to have more variation on how we control it, and we're going to be controlling it in a slightly different manner. So we'll start on the outside and work our way in. Out here is the main breaker. It's 40 amp because that's the one I could find. It probably could have been 25 amp because our Windlass is 48 volts, so it consumes very little amperage. And then this is the main Windlass up and down and programming box that you'd normally see up by the helm station, but we're not having any screens in our cockpit. And so this is mostly just for programming. So it's down in here because we're never really going to need to touch it. Then inside the box,
that's where all the magic happens.
Where all the magic happens. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. The main power cables are coming in the back, and they're getting fed into these two big contactors. This is the forward-reverse contactor, so it actually has 3 connections, and it will switch the motor from dropping the chain to picking it back up again. This contactor on this side is going to break the negative, which is going to eliminate any amount of galvanic corrosion that would happen off our chain because it's completely isolating all electrical connections to it at all, which is really good. Up here is just a bunch of these little lever terminals, which have all of the input controls for all of our different switches that we're going to be using to bring the anchor up and down. And then on this side are 2 of our main control boxes. This one is for our little wireless remote, so when we're just like walking around, we can use it. And then this box here connects to this screen and also connects to our NEMA 2000 network, which means we're going to be able to control our anchor up and down from our main onboard computer, which means we can do like auto anchor drops and all that fun stuff, and also have a very good anchor alarm because we're going to know exactly how much anchor chain we have out, and that's going to be known by our main computer. So it looks a little complicated, but we're able to like stick it all in one box, which is really cool. We decided to run these boxes in the lazarette rather than anywhere else just because it's easy enough access. All of the power is coming from that side, and there's not really a good place to put these inside, because if we ever needed to like reset these breakers because something tripped, then it's easy to just pop open the lazarette, reset this, and you're still outside. Whereas if they were inside, we have to like go down below, do something, and then come back out. So to us, this is a little bit more convenient. The only real reason we'd ever have to access these is to reset this breaker for some reason. So yeah, it's not like out in the cockpit, but it's also not way down below where it would be a nightmare to go and access if like we tripped the Windlass or we're trying to get the chain up or something like that. And they're out of the way in here as well. This space is pretty dead and not really used for anything else. And it's on a pretty good path between like our main links distribution on that side and then around and going forward to the anchor on this side. We have a really, really clean, very straight conduit run that goes all the way up to the bow. So pulling cable should be pretty easy. It's a fully straight, almost flat conduit run. This is also a waterproof box. All the connections underneath are waterproof. So if we left the lid open and a wave came in here or whatever, like all of this is fine. These breakers are waterproof. So it's very well protected. And that way also all of our control circuitry is in like one box. So if anything ever goes wrong, it's going to go wrong in here. And although it looks kind of crammed where I'm sitting now, if I flip around and actually face the box, it's actually not a bad place to work. So yeah, on that side we mounted our winch control box for the cockpit winch, but we'll get into that when we finish installing that project. All we have left to do is feed the 3 main power cables out to the Windlass motor at the bow, and also feed the control cables for the foot switches at the bow. But before we do that, we have to finish running the conduit just here in the cockpit locker from this box to the main bulkhead there. But before we do that, we need to put the shelf in that we're going to be glassing in above it, because it's going to be easier to do that now than after we install the conduit. So we have some glassing and grinding to do before we can finish running the conduit. I swear it used to fit in here better. I think this lazarette used to be bigger. That's what I think. I have a cable gland in my pocket. I'm not just happy to see you. Nice. Nice. How dead are your legs? You need some help standing up?
Yeah.
Nice. Sticky high five?
No, it's not so sticky because it's
I
clean.
think I'm more sticky than you are.
I'm so glad I'm wearing a suit.
Sticky high five? Ooh, there it is.
Yeah, my suit is covered in resin. Is this?
It hasn't kicked yet. It's too cold
I hope
outside.
it will kick.
Yeah, we'll stick the heater in there. It'll get nice and toasty tonight. Okay. Dude, that's one of my least favorite part about Windlass is just how sticky it gets so quickly. Because it's like it's not curing, but it's just sticky. I like how easy it is to work with, but like the stickiness is frustrating. We are finishing the conduit run that goes the full length of the boat so that we can connect the windlass control box to the windlass. And we've already run all the conduit like underneath the V-berth, and it stopped up here. And now we're connecting it through and up to the bottom of the chain locker floor that we built a long time ago. But since technically the chain locker is like outside because it's exposed to the water, and because it's gonna have chain in there, we don't just want to have just plastic conduit. So we're gonna glass in another piece of this GRP tube that we used for our cockpit drain. This is like the leftover bit. And then run the conduit up through inside of this. So it's gonna be like armored conduit. The challenging part is we already drilled a hole underneath in the locker through this bulkhead. And then I just drilled another hole down, and I was hoping that they were gonna like meet in the middle, but they didn't. But luckily, it's just a bunch of foam in there, so it's gonna be easy to kind of carve around and explore and make them connect tomorrow. But we're still gonna glass this tube in because there's kind of only one place this tube can go, and then all of the exploratory surgery can happen from underneath tomorrow once this is dry. I think Bug should hold it up.
Yeah.
Okay, Bug. Get longer. Okay.
And you're just gonna be barking.
Yeah. I'm gonna take this off.
You're
Yep. Oh, this is such like an I'd rather be doing the upside down shit up there. It's such an inconvenient
yeah, because you're twisting and
place to do something like this for a little while. All right,
yeah.
coming out.
Okay. Do you want me to climb in with you?
I think I'm okay. I'm just gonna like do that.
Yeah.
Trying to get it stuck everywhere else too. Come on. Oh.
Well, there's this light. I can kind of switch it up somehow. Climb in here with you.
You see how I did? I wrapped it around the top of the windlass motor. Yep. All right. Love you, bye.
Okay, bye. I'll bring in the next set.
kind of just want to like get in behind it and try to like smooth it out a little bit. See if this helps.
Done?
Yep.
Nice.
Not so bad. We're gonna turn the heat gun on low and leave it in here for like a few hours. Yeah, that's gonna be nice. Goodbye. That actually went pretty smoothly. It's a two-person job for sure. So, thanks for handing me all my shit. Yeah, we'll leave the heater running in here for a little while because it does get pretty cold here at night. But we'll have to do something about that when we go to bed. And then it'll be cured. And then tomorrow we'll have to climb in this little tiny hole underneath the V-berth and try to find the other side of that hole. We just epoxied in there. I have faith.
We'll find it.
I have faith. Cool. Yeah, that wasn't so bad. Oh, it's going to be so nice to have conduit, knowing that, like, some point in the future when the sensor wire breaks or something, or we want to add a deck wash pump or whatever the thing is, we're just going to be able to, like... I have all of my implementations of torture. I think this actually might actually be pretty good. I'm gonna see if I can do this. I'm not holding my breath, but yeah, it's going up. I think it's meeting where the fiberglass comes down. The easiest thing to do would be to thread it in from the
top, right?
Top, but then we'd have to get the V-berth mattress out of here, which...
That's a much better idea.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't do this before. I didn't realize this mattress was so flexible. Just shoved it in the corner. It's pretty gross though, because we don't have any mesh underneath it, and we haven't like insulated underneath here, and so like the condensation, it's all wet and gross already. It's a obvious sign of the value of having that vented mesh on the bottom of the mattress. Our real mattress will definitely have that mesh underneath it. All right, this will be easier. I'm gonna feed it from the top. Can you pass me the again? Mm-hmm. Let's try this one with size. Yeah, because I was definitely able to like get it about that far up from the bottom, but then I think this is just too flexible and it was starting to push out the side. So. Why? It's right here. Or there's like a drip of epoxy or something that went through it. That's weird. Wiggle it back and forth a little bit. Yeah, it's right here. I don't have a flexible drill bit. So the problem is somewhere down where that fiberglass tube goes through the bottom of our, like the base of our chain locker. There's something there that the conduit's getting stuck on, and there's not a whole lot of space in between. Like the conduit fits almost tightly. So there's something there, either some foam or some bog or some epoxy, something dripped in there. So I've got every drill bit and extension that I own. And we're gonna like feed them in from the top with a sanding disc on it, and hopefully get down far enough that when I spin the drill, it's just gonna like beat the shit out of whatever's down there. That's the plan. But those two won't. So I can get this. Okay, I'm gonna have to like put this in first and then attach it.
And hopefully not lose
Hopefully
it.
I don't lose it. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Yes, queen. By a millimeter. I just need to tighten it before I lose it. If this was like a millimeter longer, it wouldn't work. All right, that one's in. Ow. How do I get that? Come on. Okay. I think we got it. I felt it go like through whatever it was.
And I kind of felt a little something come through the vacuum as well.
I don't think I've ever performed such intricate surgery on a sailboat before. There must have been like some epoxy that just made it down in there or something.
Yeah.
That was way more work than it should have been. Done. Now we can hook this one up to the one we ran to the rest of the boat. Finish it in the cockpit locker. Then we can pull cable.
Nice. Good job.
Look at that. Just a bunch of bog that got squished in there. Because when I bogged around and I put the pipe in and I slid it down. So look, this is the edge of the pipe and it just like pushed this chunk of bog down in with inside of it. That's what we just sanded out. All right, now I'm just gonna like seal it back up again. Yeah. So the conduit we're using is just like regular 32 millimeter conduit. Like you can get it everywhere in shops around here. But these are like the union connectors, I guess, where you can like push it together this way to connect two longer pieces. And the issue we're having is that it's very good for buildings where you're running from like one box to another. Not so good on a boat because we're passing through bulkheads, especially this bulkhead that's underneath me and the V-berth bulkhead, which are waterproof or watertight bulkheads. And so we could just like drill a hole and then like flex it maybe or something. But then that piece of conduit's pretty stationary and we can't adjust it at all. So what I did instead was 3D printed some little bulkhead adapters, I guess. And then I'm using the same rubber seals that come in these ones. And I made it so that they fit in these ones. So now, where a piece of conduit passes through a bulkhead, yeah, it's a tight fit because it's a watertight seal. There we go. So now, where there's a piece of conduit like this that's going to run through one of our watertight bulkheads, it's still like an IP67 rated seal around here. And then we can like seek or glue this onto the actual bulkhead and screw it down. We made these ones on an angle because the boat hull is curved and the bulkheads are flat, and so the conduit is actually usually going through these bulkheads on an angle, and this way we can like rotate them so that they're just the right angle to keep that conduit flush, and then we're going to put another one on the backside. Yeah, so this will keep it watertight so we don't have any leakage coming in from the cockpit through our watertight bulkhead. Oh, this is risky. This is so risky. I'm trying to put this gasket in backwards. It's not designed for that. Okay, I think we're ready to dislocate my knee. I think we're ready to pull cable. The plan is going to be starting at the bow because the loop and down and under is the complicated part. So Kika's going to be able to sort of like feed that in while I pull from this side. Otherwise we'd be pulling from that side and the person feeding from this side wouldn't be really doing much good. So we got to get all of our spools of wire and some lube and run a string through, and then hopefully it goes smoothly. So some of the wire we buy, we don't necessarily buy by like the 1,000-meter spool or even the 100-meter spool, because sometimes we just need a little bit. And so they send it to us in like a little wrap. This I think is 20 meters. And if we were just pulling it off and like doing electrical work out here in the container, it doesn't really matter if it's a little bit tangled because we can kind of untangle it. But since we're running 15 meters of cable through the boat, we want it to like spool off very smoothly. And so we're using the leftover, we're using some spare 3D printer spools because they come apart in the middle. And so you can just put the wire on it and click it on, and then you've got a nice spooled wire. But because we know some of these are actually twisted, we're actually going to unspool and re-spool them onto here so we can guarantee that they're properly spooled up. So when we feed them through, we're not going to run into any like weird tangles. But for that, I've got another trick. Tip number 3 is have a Kika who can cross-thread it back and forth smoothly. There you go. 50 meters of wire spooled up. Took like 10 seconds. Try this.
Again? All right. Fishy. Okay, here's a game plan. I'm about to feed this line through on my end, and Dan is going to vacuum suck it on his end.
Right down in this corner is where the conduit comes out. I'm gonna shove the vacuum cleaner on this side, and then we're gonna suck a mouse through on a string, and then we're gonna feed back this cable pulling stuff. This is much stronger than the string is, but it's not rigid enough to push through. It's better to pull it, so we're gonna pull the string through first. You ready? It's only like a 12-meter vacuum hose. Look at that.
Nice. All right. Well, that was a successful mission. A first successful mission.
Now I'm going to tie on the stronger puller thingy and send it back to Kika.
And I'm going to be, pulling the tube through from my end. All right. Hopefully that part goes smoothly.
The string honestly probably would work. Probably is strong enough. But I would rather not find out halfway through pulling the cable.
Feels stuck. Oh, there it is. I'm just nervous that it's not gonna.
Keep going, you're good. Yeah.
It's stuck, but I see it.
How is it stuck?
Stuck at the end of the fiberglass tube.
It's just wiggle it around. It'll pop out. It's just the tip.
There we go. Yep. Yeah, I got it.
And you want to pull like a couple of meters out so you have something to work with.
Now, part 3.
All right, now we need to go connect the cables.
Dan is going to re-pull that little tube through from his end, from the lazarette, and then the cables are going to go hopefully smoothly in.
That's what, yeah,
That's the
what
plan.
she said. That's the
Yeah.
plan. Okay, yeah, disconnect the string.
Oh yeah, I'm going to lube it up as well.
After that. Hopefully while you're pulling, this is going to provide enough friction. That they're not just going to go whoop-de-woo.
Yeah.
There we go. Better?
Pretty good.
Okay.
So you can kind of like pull with your right, loop with your left, and then kind of like feed as you go. It doesn't have to be like soaked. Okay. Just like, as long as your left hand is wet and it's like applying it on, it should be fine.
Okay. Well,
here goes nothing.
Hopefully it doesn't get stuck.
I'm going to be pulling from in here. Kika's going to be unspooling and looping and feeding from in there. These are the 3 biggest cables. We're going to try to pull them all the way through at the same time. Hopefully that goes well.
Okay. Yep. You're fine.
Good part about electrical loop is that it's water-based and evaporates pretty quick. All right, I got him!
Woohoo! Part 4, successful. Wait, was it part 3 or part 4?
Cables. All right, Kika.
Yes.
I'm gonna clip the string back on and you pull the string back out. It's gonna come through with the puller, right?
Yeah, okay. So far, so good. So far, nothing bad happened. So, it's good. All right. Okay, a little more. Yep, got it.
Sweet!
Haha! All right.
Okay, now time for all the little cables.
Well, another successful mission. I was a little bit worried for a second.
It's always a little nerve-wracking.
I know.
You can cut all these off like by your knees somewhere. They don't need to be that long. Nice. All right.
Cool. Well,
Now for the hierros.
now for the next cables. Sweet.
Okay.
I think part of the problem is that with the string, it probably wrapped its way around the 3 cables we already pulled at some point, got twisted. So now the new cables that we're pulling through are kind of wrapping themselves around. So sometimes I get like a little bit stuck. All right, I got him.
All right. Well, the wires I threw. Everything worked out smoothly. We do have an extra, like we have the string run through as well, just in case we need to run another cable in the future. But yeah, everything is through the conduit. And I guess next we just need to crimp cables and plug everything in and make the windlass work.
We've got all the cables run for the windlass. We've got the cable run for the nav lights. And we've got an extra piece of string. So if we ever want to pull anything else through there, we'll be good to go. I think we're gonna break for lunch and then wire this thing up. And hopefully by the end of the day, we'll be able to hoist our new anchor up onto our bow, which would be really cool. So the cable we just pulled through. And then this is all the cable that's getting run to the links. And then this is the control cable that's running up to the throttle pod. A lot of cables just to control the windlass, but it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
melting.
Dang. Okay.
It's still melting. We're good. It's like so overkill for a 16 mil.
It's kind of like up there somewhere. Okay. All right, now we just have to mount this box up in this corner. Feed all these cables inside of it, and then put the windlass motor on. Wire it up. Tight working cord is in here, but we'll get it done. All right, I think that looks pretty good. We've got the nav lights running up here too, so that when it comes time to hook those up, we're ready. And everything else is installed, torqued, and good to go. I think that turned out really, really well. Still got another string in here too in case you ever want to pull anything back through there, but the motor back on. Spray all this down with some sort of corrosion protection at some point, but for now, I think we're ready to go plug this thing into the links, see if we can get it to spin. Exciting times. Let's see if we can get a tour here. This is our windlass that we installed in Norway a couple of years ago. It's still in really, really good shape, so we're not gonna replace it anytime soon. And it's 48 volts, made by Maxwell. It's the first 48 volt windlass in the world, I think. Collaborated with them to make that happen. And the cool part about that is these are the cables we can run because they're only taking 25 amps each. So these are only 16 mil cable. I believe they're 6 AWG, 8 AWG, can't remember. And then they're going up to the box, back up in there, and coming back down. This is the conduit that goes to the windlass control box in the lazarette. Up and down foot switches up there. All wired and good to go. And then that last gland at the top of the box is for nav lights when that gets ready. We also installed this piece of wood and reinforced it a couple of years ago, which is awesome because that's where the chain comes in. And so this is all fiberglass. This is like a big piece of PVC. So when the chain drops down here into the chain locker, it doesn't get anywhere near the motor. So the motor stays really nice and dry and clean. And then the wet chain comes down on this side, and then this protects it as well from chafe. So overall, it's a good system. We're pretty happy with it. There's the rest of the chain locker. All right, it's time to crawl out of here. Yeah, this system's worked really well. This sort of half bulkhead has protected the motor for 4 years, 3 years, and the motor still looks brand new. So it works well because the chain comes down in front of it and piles down here. And then this protects the motor from any splash or spray or salt. So it stays nice and dry. Pretty happy with that. That works out really well. Now we just have to wire the windlass control box to the Lynx distributor for the 48 volt side. And then the 12 volt control side, we need to wire to one of our fuse blocks. That might happen tomorrow because it's 8 o'clock at night. And I've been upside down in here for an hour and a half. 2 hours? 2 hours. And I am super sore. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, we are officially ready for a smoke test. We just finished pulling the cables from the winch control box through to the links and wiring those up, and then plugging in the 12-volt breaker, because this windlass is like a little bit tricky because the control buttons are 12 volts, because the contactors that control them are 12 volts, but the load going that actually runs the motor is 48. So we kind of have a dual voltage windlass, which makes the wiring like a slightly bit more complicated. But yeah, we plugged all those in. Currently all of our battery BMSs are off, but I can turn those on from the phone and then do a smoke test and see if we get voltage.
Just convenient.
Oh, hello. Okay. Now we should have 52 volts. Then we should also have, if I turn the 12 volt on, we should also get very anticlimactic. You wanna go push, should we go push some buttons?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm nervous. I think it'll work. I just hope it spins in the right direction so we don't have to like
Anchor backwards.
mess up with all the wires. This should be down, which means this should spin counterclockwise. Damn it. All right, well, everything works. Nothing's smoking. At some point next time I'm in the chain locker, I'll flip the F1 and F2 wires so that it spins in the correct direction when you push the correct button. But that's not really important now because we can just push down to go up. So it means we can actually pull up our anchor chain and see how it looks in the anchor locker, right?
Yeah.
Before it gets dark. Yeah. I'm excited. We can actually put this thing to work, not just like look at it spin without under load. Let's put it under load. Put a loop on the end of it too so we can find out where the end is. Look at that. I was worried we were gonna have to dig through that box for like 4 hours to try to find the end. All right, well, in this box is some really shiny anchor chain. It's gonna look so good on the boat. We've opted to go with stainless chain this time around. We've gone through 3 different lengths of galvanized chain in the last 10 years. The worst one lasted 2 years and it was just crumbling and falling apart. The last one we went with lasted maybe 4 years and it was still pretty rusty. So it's galvanized chain works, is strong, but it doesn't last very long. And the other issue is that it piles up in your chain locker and it creates like a steep mound and then it falls over on itself. So when you're trying to dump your chain quickly again in the future, it brings like this big ball of chain up. And so stainless chain doesn't do that. It slumps down nicely in your chain locker. It's much more corrosion resistant. It doesn't rust, well, barely rusts. It might rust a little bit if you scratch it, but it's just better. It's also significantly stronger. This is the same 8mm chain that we had before, but I think it's like 3 times stronger. I'll have to check the math on that. And this is 318 LN duplex chain. So it's significantly stronger and more corrosion resistant than 316 or 316L. And this is from Chromox because they make the best stainless chain that we know of. So before we had 60 meters, now we have 80, so we can anchor in even deeper water. I'm really excited to have stainless chain and not have all those rust stains on the side of the boat. We also replaced our gypsy, the part of the windlass that this chain actually fits into. It's the same size chain as we had before and it would have fit in our old windlass, but the old windlass had galvanized chain in it, so it was full of little tiny iron particles, and so it would have contaminated this chain relatively quickly. It's another reason why we opted to put 2 contactors in our windlass control box, one for the positive and one for the negative, so that when we're dropping chain, there is technically potential for an electric current to somehow make its way to the chain. But then as soon as we stop pressing that button, both of those contactors open and there is 0 chance of galvanic corrosion connecting this chain to any of the electrical system on our boat. So it's just one more way of making sure that this is sort of floating and it's going to have the least amount of potential to corrode as possible.
If you want to know a bit more about this particular chain or other variants of stainless steel, we'll leave a link in the description. There are several different flavors of it, and they're not all created equally, but this is pretty much the best stuff that we know of. It also means that we have a stainless swivel and a stainless anchor, but first we have to get all of this chain up onto the boat before we can hoist the anchor up.
Through here.
We're here. I think we're going to do the same thing we did before. I'm just going to like weave this piece of rope down through. We'll probably replace it eventually. And then pull in the beginning of this with just the rope and then pull the chain in. Hopefully this box is nicely flaked out. I would assume it is. They know what they're doing. I don't know if it's just me, but that seems faster than it was before too. It might be getting like a higher voltage because we're running bigger cable. All right, now it's time for the real jewelry. Look at that shiny beast. So this time around, to match our stainless steel anchor chain, we've opted to go with a 27 kilo Ultra. It is also a spade anchor, but unlike our old anchor, it doesn't have that big roll bar that sticks out over the top, which we have had stuck on rocks before. So it's nice that this one doesn't have a roll bar. Also, that roll bar is no longer going to hit our bow sprit, which is also nice. And this is all hollow, so it concentrates more of the weight down here in the tip, which I believe has a cast lead tip. So it should hold even better than our old anchor did. 10 years ago, we made a video about how spade anchors are better than any other type of anchor out there. And that was before we had any real anchoring experience. But what we said then is still true now, because after anchoring on our boat and dozens of other boats for the past 10 years, we can definitively say that spade anchors, any spade anchor, is better than plows or Bruces or claws or any of those other CQRs, any of those other very old anchor technologies. Mainly because spades are designed to dig in and keep digging in, whereas plow anchors, the problem with those is that they're modeled after a plow, which is designed to go half a foot into the dirt and then just dig a trench with the least amount of friction possible, so you can go and plant your seeds behind it. I've never really understood why anchors were that shape. It doesn't really make sense to me. Spades are better. There's dozens of companies out there that now make spade anchors. Get one. They're not any more expensive than plow anchors, and they work significantly better. Ultra also sent us one of their swivels, which we're quite excited to try out. Unlike our old swivel, we no longer need like that extra piece of chain here, because with the new one, it's built in a way that it can't really wrap and twist itself around the shank and get like jammed. I can't even explain how it was, but it happened multiple times before we put that piece of chain in. So yeah, stainless chain, stainless swivel, it's late. Stainless chain, stainless swivel, stainless anchor, stainless windlass, and zero galvanic corrosion potential. I'm really excited to have a clean, shiny anchor for a very long time. This one's also 2 kilos heavier than our old anchor, and our chain's 20 meters longer. So we're gonna be able to anchor in even deeper water and with even better holding than we had before. Our ethos really hasn't changed in the past 10 years around anchors. It is your lifeline. It's kind of one of, if not the most important piece of safety gear, because when your boat gets damaged, it's because it hits land usually. The ocean can't really damage it too much. And so while you're sailing, you can stay offshore, but if you're anchored, you really just can't afford to drag. And you can set any anchor so that it doesn't drag in some wind, but dozens and dozens of times we've been in anchorages with really nasty wind blowing through, and we're the only one that doesn't drag. Or us and others with spade anchors are the only ones that don't drag. So having an oversized anchor and very strong ground tackle is incredibly important on a sailboat. putting a good anchor on was the first thing we did when we first got our boat before we went sailing. And now it's kind of the first major thing we're putting back on the boat, even though we're not even in the water yet. Over-speccing and overbuilding your main ground tackle, I think, is important. Having a spare or a backup is less important. On our boat, having our 25 kilo anchor before has held us in like 70 plus knots of wind. It probably would have been enough to hold us in the hurricane, even though we had a hurricane anchor at that point. But it's very important to overbuild your ground tackle. And this one's gonna look really good on the bow of our new boat. Shall we hoist it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Nice. Well, it's up. It looks really, really good. I really like the bow roller we built in the Netherlands. It fits this anchor just as well as it fit our last anchor. It has a really good clearance when it launches. It's got a really good ability to flip itself around when it comes back up. It's pretty cool. This windlass is the first piece of equipment installed on the boat that we could actually properly load test the way it's gonna work once we're back in the water. So that's really exciting. And it involves the 12 volt system, which is up and running, and the 48 volt system, which is up and running. I still need to flip the wires around, so up and down are actually up and down. And then wire the switches up near the throttle pod, but that will all come later. For now, it works. Pretty excited about having that up there. It looks so, so good. But one thing we haven't decided on yet is how we're gonna mark our anchor chain. We do have a chain counter on that windlass, and that chain counter is going to be connected to our NEMA network, which means we'll be able to see digitally how much chain we have out. However, it's always good to mark at least a halfway point and mark the end, or maybe every 10 meters. We've tried the little plastic clips before. We've tried zip ties. We've tried paint. Nothing really seems to last very long, especially now with stainless chain. Really not sure the best way to mark it. So if you guys have any ideas, let us know your favorite way of marking your chain, what your color code is, how often you mark it, and maybe we'll get some good ideas from you guys before we're back in the water. But for now, it's up, it works, another successful smoke test, and I'm super happy that nothing dramatic happened because it's late and it's time to go to bed. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers. High five to you.
Why?
Because this was a long project, and you're an equal part of it, even though you only point the camera at me sometimes. For hours.
Oh no!
Did you just drop it? Oh.
I almost fell in the bucket of resin. That would have sucked.
All right, go to bed.
Oh, it's still very bright.
Damn it.